Hey, I know it's October, it's Cancer Month, and I just want to say that I battled cancer myself, malignant melanoma, stage 3B. And I know people go through it, and I just got to tell you that you got to keep living life. You got to keep living life as if you never knew anything was wrong. Because I was like up here one day, I had as you can see right there, I had a bump on my arm. I thought it was a wart. So I went to the doctor for my Achilles and my knee. It was hurting from running a lot. I was a AIT platoon sergeant, equivalent to what they call a drill sergeant now. But I was, out there going hard all the time. So had a little pain in my Achilles and my knee. Went to get it checked out. But at the same time, I had this bump on my arm, and I didn't think nothing of it. We did PT in the grass all the time, so I just thought it was a little irritation or something. So I went to the doctor, and when I went to the doctor about my Achilles and my knee, I asked him if he could look at it. He said, "Oh, it looks like a wart. We can burn it off, So we set up an appointment, and I went back, and he didn't burn it off. He decided to cut it off and send it in for observation. Good thing he did that, but I get a call. The first call I got was from general surgery, and I was confused. I'm like, why is general surgery, sending me a message? Why I have an appointment for general surgery? So after that call, I get a call from a doctor asking me could I come in. So I was like, sure. He said, I went in, and he told me he was looking very sad and said I sent it in and got a diagnosis of malignant melanoma, which I had no idea what it was. So I'm not tripping. Okay. So what do we do now? Is my next question. So after I left the doctor, I looked it up and saw what it was, but I still didn't, wasn't tripping. I said I'm gonna keep going on. I looked up online and seen some different stories about malignant melanoma, and it was serious. I realized it was kind of serious, but at that point I didn't know I was diagnosed with stage 3B. So what had happened was that they, since it's on my elbow, what they do is they go to the nearest spot of a lymph node where it could be affected, which was under my arm because it's on my elbow right here. So they went to, if I can show you, you can't really see it. It was under my arm. That's where I got cut and everything. It was under my arm. So they test that lymph node, which came back positive. So I had to have another surgery. I had the first surgery April 16th, and then of 2013. So after that, they were to do the lymph node dissection, I think it was, and they test that lymph node, the closest lymph node to the spot. So the spot was on my arm, the closest lymph node was under my arm. So they tested it. It was positive. So I had to have another surgery on April 23rd of 2013. So and what they did then was they went in and got all the lymph nodes from basically under here. So this whole side and right here is still numb to this day. It's still numb. But they tested the rest of the lymph nodes, which I have no lymph nodes under there. They tested those lymph nodes, and it came out they was, negative, but I had to have a drain because my lymph nodes I had no lymph nodes under here. So I had a drain coming out my body, which I have a scar there to this day. And that I couldn't get the drain out until it produced a certain level that you have to have, and it's just like a little cup connected to the drain. So it had to be below a certain level before they could take that drain out. So I got all that done, and when you're going through, I went through what they call interferon, which is it's a drug. It's a therapy that you go through to kill the cancer. So the first thing they wanted to do was a trial to Augusta. I'm in Augusta, Georgia. So it's a trial they have through the University of Augusta. It's changed some names so many times I can't keep up, but it's a Augusta Health GRU, whatever it's called now. But they wanted to do a trial, and one of the trials was interferon. So instead of waiting for the trial, I said, since they told me about it, and the doctors at Eisenhower, which is here on Fort Gordon, they said we want to do interferon. So since that was one of the things that they mentioned at GRU, Augusta University, I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get it over with and start it as soon as I can. So I did that at at Eisenhower. So I started the interferon, and it's it's difficult. My very first session I had, it wrecked me. I'm telling you, I've never experienced anything like that besides hot yoga, and I was down. So it really put me out, and I was like, wow, it was awesome, not awesome, but in a bad way. So I went through that, and I ended up getting through it. So I had to go to next week. So when I went to get my blood work done the next week, they said your levels are too low. They get the white blood cell counts and all that. They said if it's this low again, we're gonna have to stop it. We can't give it to you again. So I had to wait till the next week. I couldn't take the interferon, so I had to wait till the next week to see my levels. The levels the next week were still too low. So they said we're gonna cut it in half. Well, this is after they cut it in half. So after they cut it in half, I was still too low. So they said if we're gonna do it again, and if it's that low again, we're gonna have to find out something different. So I was in danger of just not having any solution. But I went through it, you know what I'm saying? So the next week after they cut it in half again, my blood cell counts were good, and I was able to continue. But what I want to say is, when you diagnosed with cancer, everybody has different types of cancer, different, and I didn't realize how serious mine was, because I'm in that mindset of I'm always going to keep my same thought process that everything gonna work out. I'm gonna be good as long as I keep pushing. So that's what I was, the mindset I was at. So I never changed my thought process. I never bought into what I'm supposed to do or how I'm supposed to live. I said I'm going to live like as if nothing was wrong. So I kept living like that. I kept having my little drinks and whatever food I was cooking and just keep living and doing what I could do. I tried to live. I couldn't lift weights. I couldn't work out. I couldn't run like I wanted to. I couldn't work out because I had been cut under my arm twice, under here, had a drain coming out of me. They took, where you see this right here, that skin from my hip that they took a skin graft from to cover where they went in and did the what they call a wide area scope. So that's when they find the spot of the cancer and they go in deeper to see if it's affected any of the tissues. So that's where I was. So I went from 100 to 0 like that. I couldn't do push-ups no more. At the time, I couldn't lift weights because I couldn't lift my arms straight up over my head. When after the surgery, it was about this much, and it was very painful. And to this day, this side is still numb. It's sometimes I still get a little sensation where I can't really, go hard. But I don't make no excuses. I keep going, But that's the biggest thing, to keep living like you're living. Cancer is, it sucks. I've had relatives and I've had people I was close to that died from cancer, and it always, when it comes up, when they pass away or when they get sick, it always affects me because I'm always thinking Because if you know about malignant melanoma, it's one of the most aggressive forms of cancer, and it can come back hard. So I always get emotional, and I think about that. But in the end, I got to keep going. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep going, and I remember something that Jim Valvano said. He used to be the coach of NC State Wolfpack. He said, cancer can affect all my physical abilities, but it cannot touch my heart. It cannot touch my soul. So, you think about that. You keep going. And you try to be, I'm not going to say you try to be, it's not like on purpose you try to be an inspiration, but you know what you have to go through. And I know no matter what, I'm going to keep living my life. I'm going to keep living. And some people may not understand why you up and down. Some people may not understand that. And sometimes you feel like doing stuff, and sometimes you don't, because the effects of chemotherapy, interferon, whatever you have, it's lingering. It does affect you, and it's just one of those things that you have to go through. And but for anybody, I've had a great support system. I had people that were really there for me. Rebecca Knoll, who was a student in AIT when I was a platoon sergeant, she basically, led the charge, did a great job. First son Gonzalez, Thomas Gonzalez, he was there for me. My battle buddies, Byron Williams, Kendrick Steele, Angel Garcia, Sylvester Hinton, they were always, they was in my corner, there for me, brought me anything I needed. My commander, Rebecca Vaughn, I think it's her first name. I know Captain Vaughn. No, that's her name. She bought me food and just made sure I was good. All of them, and that's what it's about. Can't forget Jennifer Bell. Jennifer Bell was always there. You know what I'm saying? When I came home and couldn't move on the floor, balled up in a ball because I couldn't move, I could text her and be like, I need this or whatever. I'm really hurting, because I was after that first dose of interferon, I was hurting. I was really hurting, but she was there for me. People have always been there for me, and it meant a lot. It means a lot. So if you know anybody going through cancer, getting diagnosed, be there for them. And don't forget, the strongest people will never ask for help. So you got to make sure you can be there for them, because it's not an easy thing to go through. But in the words of Jim Valvano, he's not the only one that's spoken on cancer, but he's probably one of the most famous speeches, and even Stuart Scott with famous speeches. I think Craig Sager, famous speeches. My aunt Sharon Carter, famous. Just people who've been through it. I have people, Jimmy Donnelly, different form of cancer. My buddy Chris Coleman, different form of cancer. LaFonya Winters. It's been and it's some people I may be forgetting, but cancer is real. It's beatable. Support is important. And all this is from the heart. I'm not reading from anything. I'm just telling you from the heart. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And I know people may not get to the end of this. They may not. But I'm telling anybody that has been diagnosed with cancer. It was somebody on TikTok. I had messaged them or sent them a message saying, no matter what, you keep living like nothing has changed, like you don't know anything, like nothing is wrong. When diagnosed, you keep on living and you keep doing what you're doing. You keep living as if nothing is wrong as much as you can, because sometimes your treatment will take away from what you feel. You may feel like doing something and 5 minutes later, you feel drained. And that's just how it is. But I'm telling you, you can beat it. People, you can be supportive. Sometimes being supportive means giving space. Sometimes being supportive means giving everything you have to give them. But don't ever like Jim Valvano said, don't ever give up. And this month is October, of course, so it's we get into cancer awareness, but it's one of the major killers, I guess you could say. I know heart disease is up there, but cancer is something that is devastating, devastates families all the time, man. And I hope everybody who has somebody going through it, everybody who's diagnosed with it, can keep getting up, can stay positive no matter what, and keep on living and stay up. And that's the biggest thing, man. Don't ever get your hopes down. You keep living until it's not possible anymore. Peace.